Hello, everyone, dear viewers of the channel. I am Halyna, the guardian of secrets, a researcher of mystical phenomena, and here with me is Vadym, a historian interested in folk culture.
Good day to all. I'm here, as always, to provide a healthy dose of skepticism to Halyna's fascinating tales, seeking the historical and psychological roots beneath the mystical branches.
And today, Vadym, we are delving into a realm where the veil between worlds thins, where our ancestors sought guidance and foresight, the mysteries of Ukrainian night visions, or what we call snobachenia. Dream divination is such a profound part of our heritage, offering a captivating journey into the subconscious, revealing how dreams have been understood and utilized for guidance and foresight within our culture for centuries. For Ukrainians, a dream was never just a random jumble of images. It was a message, a warning, or a promise.
Indeed, Halyna, the concept of dreams as omens or insights is not unique to Ukrainian culture, but what fascinates me is the specific interpretations and systems developed within our folk traditions. From a historical perspective, these interpretations often reflect the socioeconomic realities and anxieties of the time. What might seem purely mystical to us today often had a very practical, even psychological grounding for people living closer to nature and dependent on communal wisdom.
Oh, but the practicality was often intertwined with pure magic. Think of the znacharki or voroshki, the village wise women and seers. They were not only herbalists and healers, but also profound interpreters of dreams. People would come to them, troubled by a recurrent dream, seeking to understand its hidden meaning. My grandmother, God rest her soul, used to tell me of a time a young woman dreamt repeatedly of a black raven landing on her window. The Znaharka interpreted it as an omen of sudden, grave news. And indeed, within days, her brother, serving far away, fell ill. Coincidence? Perhaps, but the belief, the emotional impact, was very real and shaped how that family prepared for what was to come.
That's a classic example, Halyna. And while this Naharka might have seen it as a direct prophecy, a historian might point to the established symbolism of ravens in many cultures, often associated with death, bad news, or change. This symbolism isn't arbitrary. It likely arose from observations of ravens as scavengers, often seen near battlefields or ailing animals. So the dream isn't necessarily a magical premonition, but rather the subconscious processing of existing cultural symbols, perhaps even reflecting an underlying anxiety the young woman already held about her brother's safety, which then projected onto a common, ominous symbol.
But sometimes, Vadym, the interpretations defy simple logic or cultural symbolism. Take the dream of losing teeth. Universally, it often means fear of losing control or anxiety. But in Ukrainian folklore, especially if they are front teeth, it specifically foretells the loss of a close family member, often a man. If they are back teeth, it's a woman. It's too precise to be just general anxiety. It speaks to a very specific system of belief, almost a coded language from the subconscious or perhaps from the collective unconscious, passed down through generations.
And that precision is what's intriguing. While tooth loss in dreams certainly relates to vulnerability and decay, the specific association with gendered loss might stem from historical societal structures where men and women had distinct roles and values within the family unit. The subconscious mind, steeped in these cultural norms, could indeed manifest these anxieties through precise symbolic forms. Or consider the common Ukrainian dream of seeing a wedding dress, which many cultures see as a good omen. In our tradition, dreaming of a white wedding dress often foretells illness or even death, particularly for the dreamer or someone close. This counterintuitive interpretation fascinates me.
That's one of those deeply unsettling ones, isn't it? It's believed that the wedding gown symbolizes a shroud in this context, preparing for a spiritual union rather than an earthly one. It's chilling when you hear stories of people who dreamt this and then sadly fell ill shortly after. There's an undeniable power in these symbols. Or consider water. Clear, flowing water signifies good fortune, health, and a clear path. Muddy or stormy water, however, warns of obstacles, emotional turmoil, or even gossip and slander. And if you dream of drowning, that's a serious warning of overwhelming problems or a hidden enemy.
Yes, the elements of water is fascinating because its symbolism is so ancient and widespread. Yet our interpretations add specific nuances. From a psychological perspective, water often represents emotions and the unconscious mind. Its clarity or turbidity in a dream could simply be a metaphor for one's current emotional state or perceived life challenges. Muddy water could symbolize confusion or suppressed anxieties about interpersonal relationships, which might manifest as fear of gossip. It's the mind trying to make sense of internal feelings.
But what about prophetic dreams? Those visions that literally show an event before it happens. My great aunt, for instance, once dreamt of a specific old apple tree in their orchard being struck by lightning during a calm, clear night. She woke up terrified. The next morning, a sudden freak storm rolled in, and that very apple tree was indeed split in two by lightning.
Now, that's the kind of story that gives even a skeptic pause, Halyna. While such occurrences are often attributed to coincidence or selective memory, we tend to remember the hits and forget the misses. It's certainly compelling. From a purely rational standpoint, one might suggest a subconscious awareness of subtle changes in atmospheric pressure or distant weather patterns processed by the dreaming mind. Or it could be a psychological manifestation of an underlying fear related to the stability of their home or land, which then, by chance, aligned with reality. But I do concede such stories are difficult to dismiss entirely.
Exactly. It's the inexplicable alignment that speaks to something beyond simple psychology. And it's not just about foretelling disaster. Dreams of flying are common, often interpreted as a desire for freedom or overcoming obstacles. But in Ukrainian folklore, flying high and freely could also mean spiritual elevation, or even that your soul is temporarily leaving your body, an out-of-body experience. And if you're falling, that's a grave warning of losing control, perhaps even a premonition of death or a severe fallen status.
The falling dream is almost universal in its association with a loss of control or fear of failure. However, the interpretation of the soul leaving the body is a powerful cultural lens. Many ancient cultures believed in the concept of a dream soul or astral projection, and this belief likely shaped the interpretation of such vivid, disembodied flight experiences. It's a way of giving meaning to a powerful physiological sensation that the dreaming brain creates. Our folklore provides a narrative framework for these intense experiences.
And these frameworks, these interpretations, were not just idle superstitions. They were tools for navigating life. Farmers dreamt of bountiful harvests or bad weather. Young women dreamt of their future husbands, often with riddles that required careful deciphering. A dream of sorting seeds might mean a complex choice in a suitor, for example. It gave people a sense of control, a way to prepare, to understand the unseen forces at play in their lives. Losing this knowledge, these specific interpretations, means losing a vital thread of our cultural understanding.
I completely agree that these dream interpretations served a crucial social and psychological function. They provided a shared language for communal anxieties and hopes. They offered a means for individuals to process their own concerns and sometimes to seek guidance from elders or spiritual figures within the community. It wasn't just about literal prophecy, it was about communal cohesion, reinforcing cultural values, and providing narrative comfort in an often unpredictable world. We see this in the proliferation of dream books throughout history, which codified these interpretations and made them accessible.
Yes, the old dream books, or sonniki, are treasures. They are filled with intricate symbolism that reveals so much about what our ancestors valued and feared. For instance, dreaming of fish often meant pregnancy, a symbol of fertility and new life. But if the fish was dead, it could mean a failed venture or even a miscarriage. These weren't arbitrary. They were deeply rooted in observation of nature and the human condition.
And the consistent nature of these symbols across various regions suggests a strong underlying cultural consensus, which developed over centuries. While I might argue that a dream of fish leading to pregnancy is more of a self-fulfilling prophecy or statistical correlation rather than a mystical insight, the belief system itself is undeniable. It offers comfort, hope, or a call to caution, and that psychological effect is very real.
And isn't that the magic, Vadym? The power of belief to shape our perception and even our reality. When you believe a dream is a warning, you become more vigilant, more attuned. It changes your actions. It creates a connection to something larger than yourself. It's about maintaining that connection to our roots.
I completely agree that these dream interpretations served a crucial social and psychological function. They provided a shared language for communal anxieties and hopes. They offered a means for individuals to process their own concerns and, sometimes, to seek guidance from elders or spiritual figures within the community. It wasn't just about literal prophecy, it was about communal cohesion, reinforcing cultural values, and providing narrative comforts in an often unpredictable world. We see this in the proliferation of dream books throughout history, which codified these interpretations and made them accessible.
Yes, the old dream books, or sonniki, are treasures. They are filled with intricate symbolism that reveals so much about what our ancestors valued and feared. For instance, dreaming of fish often meant pregnancy, a symbol of fertility and new life. But if the fish was dead, it could mean a failed venture or even a miscarriage. These weren't arbitrary. They were deeply rooted in observation of nature and the human condition.
And the consistent nature of these symbols across various regions suggests